Do you really need the Fanatec CSL DD? Hello and welcome back to the channel. Now, I'm often not known as a hardware reviewer, but today that's exactly what I'm going to do. The Fanatec CSL DD was released in November of 2021 and it completely shook up the sim racing market with its relatively low €350 price point, with two options being the 5Nm and the other being the 8Nm for an extra €150. But you've heard that all from every other sim racer on the internet, so I wanted to do something different. Now, although I do not regularly review hardware, and in fact on my own rig I only run a T300 RS, but I've used a lot of different hardware quite regularly, and I spend a fair amount of time at Rush Racing driving on a full motion simulator with a Fanatec DD1, and I've had a decent amount of time with a SimiCube Pro. So I think I can provide a slightly different approach. So instead of bombarding you with hundreds of facts about the wheelbase, let's talk about the important stuff. What it is like to drive. Now, I did not purchase this wheelbase, and in fact was able to test this through my friends at Rush Racing, who have the CSL DD and are actually doing a competition to win one. More on that later. So because I'm used to using the DD1 when driving at Rush, I wanted to see if the experience was any worse when driving the much less powered DD. So first up, I wanted to try the base out with something I know, so off to the sim racing mecca, GT3s at Spa. And after a few laps warming up, I had fully settled into using the wheelbase, and I can wholeheartedly say that I absolutely loved the set. Aside from the obvious power difference, I barely noticed a difference going from the DD1 to the CSL DD. Yes, the DD1 clearly puts out more power than the 8Nm that I was getting from the CSL, but in terms of detail, I couldn't pick the two apart. And for this price point, I would be tempted to say that if you want to go with Fanatec, the CSL might be your better option. I mean, you can spend that extra money on new wheels, and that's all what we want. Now, when it comes to us amateur hobby sim racers, not these esports aliens, I really do feel like that this is the sweet spot in terms of power. It's enough power for you to be able to feel everything, but not so much that you're going to be fatigued after an hour or two of racing. So in this situation, on the motion sim with all the bells and whistles, the wheelbases are actually quite closely matched. But I think I would take the DD1 just for the extra power to match what everything that's going on with the motion and the wind. Now, the real big difference is when you look at it as an entry point into the hobby. Comparing this to my T300 at home, the difference is night and day. The amount of detail that I get through the wheelbase is absolutely incredible, and I'll be the first one to say I absolutely love my Thrustmaster wheel and have no plans to change it. But the CSL is the first time where I've thought about switching ecosystems. Not only are we getting so much more detail through the wheel, but the noise is non-existent. Now, on a motion sim with wind simulation, that doesn't really matter. But when I'm at home living with someone else, it's nice to have a wheelbase that doesn't make a racket when I'm using it. And I think that's how I can justify this purchase to my partner. So in terms of the wheelbase, the CSL DD has impressed me so far, more than it actually thought it would. And I'm quite the cynic, and I saw all these positive reviews going around of the wheelbase thinking it was all marketing rubbish, but the base really holds up itself. But we aren't quite done there. Now, the CSL base came out in November, but more recently Fanatec released as a Gran Turismo model with an included wheel. And again, thanks to Rush, I managed to get hands-on with this, and well, this is where it falls down a little bit. Now, the wheelbase is just as fantastic as it's the same base as the regular CSL, coming in a 5Nm and an 8Nm option, but the wheel, oh man, the wheel. In plain and simple terms, it's a toy. And I understand that it's entry level and they had to follow strict guidelines from Polyphony, but the wheel isn't the same quality that we expect from Fanatec, especially when Fanatec's budget wheels, such as the McLaren GT3 wheel and the WRC wheel, are so fantastic. My advice would be, if you aren't a beginner, if you manage to get one of these wheelbases, the first thing you want to do is probably get a new wheel for it. Now, the bundle also comes with a set of pedals, which I had a look at, although I didn't get a chance to test them. If you want to see me test them, let me know and I'll do a whole review on them. But just having a look and a feel of them, the build quality is fantastic, really what we've expected from Fanatec. and they provide a lot more resistance, especially than the ones I have on my Thrustmaster. That really is the biggest downside of my setup at the moment. All in all, the Fanatec CSL DD GT Pro bundle, I know, what a mouthful, is an incredible wheelbase, and it's nice to see there be a compatible wheelbase for the PlayStation just in time for the new Gran Turismo game. Although the wheel is slightly lacking in quality, I would say that if you're on something like a Logitech G Series or a Thrustmaster T150, this should be the upgrade that you're looking at. Heck, I might even give up my trusty Thrustmaster T300 for this combo right here. Unless Thrustmaster knocks it out the park with their DD, please. But if you like the sound of this, I have some great news for you. Rush Racing is giving away a Fanatec CSL DD GT bundle. But you're going to have to be the quickest on the track to secure that new upgrade. If this is something that interests you, hop on over to their Instagram page and read all about it. And good luck. So that's going to do it for the video. I hope you enjoyed this kind of review video. It's something I'm hoping to do more of this year. So if anyone's got any products, please send them my way and I'll do a review of them. If you want to keep up to date with the videos and everything else that I'm doing in the content space, follow me on socials. Those will be down in the description below, along with all the stuff for Rush Racing. Again, thank you for letting me film that video with you. And until then, goodbye.